What's up, dudes and dudettes of the internet? My name's Scythe, and today we're going to be talking about a tutorial that's been long overdue. Clubs, and how you actually manage them. Clubs are clans or guilds, whatever you want to call them. They're called clubs in Trove, and unfortunately I've been playing this game so long that I even call clans in other games clubs now. It's ridiculous. But the way that you manage it, of course, is you're going to end up going over to, which crafting table is it? Yeah, the building crafting table. You get yourself this club card, and then you end up choosing a name for your club, okay? And then once you end up having the club created, you just press P, you bring up your club menu. You can only have 5 clubs at a time, and then of course you're gonna have to leave one. The way that you leave them is you go into the club itself, and then you click leave club in the bottom left, which I'm not even daring going close to that button. And then you just click club world and it'll warp you to the club itself. We're gonna say club like so many times. And then you're going to be using all of these props and items that are in the club section right here, like the club world. So homeworld hearts are pretty much props or likes towards your club. The more likes that a club has means that it's going to have a higher chance of actually showing up in the hub. So in the hub, you're going to see there's kind of a little bit of a trophy system where there's like weaker portals down at the bottom. Then there's kind of like a bronze, silver, and a gold. I think it's 10,000 props and you end up showing up on the gold top podium. But of course, it's random and it's going to cycle out your club from other clubs if you're fortunate enough to actually get up there. The world spring is very, very important because it gives you terraformers, and terraformers is how you create new biomes that you can build in and stuff like that. We'll get into that in a minute. Then there is the portal bench, which is specifically only so that you can create a portal to your club world that you could put in your cornerstone or put into someone else's club that you have building permission for. Then there's the community chest. This chest, it's important to note, everybody, and I mean people that aren't even a member of your clan, can actually see what's inside the community chest and take stuff. However, as you can see right there, warning, this community chest won't stick around forever, the items inside it, because there's actually a problem going on with this game for a very long time where somebody actually found out how to duplicate items, and they were using community chests to kind of hoard all their items and share it between characters. So unfortunately, the devs don't have a solution to that, so now these community chests just kind of reset their items every now and then. So don't use them for storage. However, the club chest itself you can use for storage, so long as you're the only member of the club. Just a fun fact here is that lots of people actually will create a club world just so that they have a bank, because if you can end up creating a club chest, that's a whole inventory space right there. Don't invite anybody into the club. And then of course there's the officer chest, which is another inventory slot. The way that these work is the club chest, everybody who's a member of your club can actually see all the stuff that's in, while the officer chest, only people that are officers. And the way that all of works is through promoting, which is just this up and down arrow to demote, up arrow to up them. And the way that the hierarchy works is members can't do anything. They can just kind of access all the portals and everything like that. Bump them up to architect, and then they can start building in designated biomes. We'll talk about that in a minute in more detail too. And then of course, officer can invite people, they can kick people, they can demote, they can pretty much do everything. They can even open biomes for members to build in and stuff like that. And generally, it's not a good idea to promote someone to officer unless you trust them and know that they can be trusted, because an officer can break the club, like straight up. And then of course, the leader itself can just do everything on all the exact same commands as an officer, except like demoting officers and like kicking them and stuff like that, because otherwise, yeah. Also, you can't promote. I don't think an officer can promote someone else to officer. That's just kind of, they can promote people to architect, but not to their own personal rank. And the way that all works is if we look at the map right here, you can see all these little icons that are on the map are actually showing the different restrictions to the zone and the biome. So of course, the no restriction means that nobody can build on it, including officers. The way that you type that command is you type in slash zone restrict nobody. That's how you turn it so that nobody can destroy stuff. Then there is that hammer that's on top of us. That is actually an architect biome. That means anybody who's an architect can mess with stuff and break stuff and stuff like that. They can accidentally bomb stuff, and generally it's a good thing to close your biomes when you yourself aren't building in them. And then the T, the Trove T that you can see kind of in the top right and down and left of us, that's officer biomes. It's the exact same as the architect biome, however, only officers can build in it. And then of course there is, although we don't have them in Team Pixel, you can actually set a zone to members only, but be careful because it means that everybody who's part of the club can build in it, and it's gonna get grief straight up. So all the commands for that is just /zone restrict space officer, architect, member, nobody. Those are all the different commands, and those are the biggest ones that lots of people don't seem to realize in this game because it doesn't actually teach you, unfortunately, and so many people have been griefed by all of this stuff. That's one of the things you're going to want to be careful of because especially... Here's the biggest thing when you're starting out a new club, everybody. If you have if you have really expensive items like the transit portal or a sky portal and stuff like that, stuff that generally costs like a lot of resources, like all this stuff, close the biome. Don't let anybody in it because, again, if you have somebody that's an officer and they're not trustworthy, even in the slightest bit, they'll steal everything. I've seen it happen countless times. They'll just take everything and take it for their own club or quit or just to be a jerk. So you gotta be very, very careful about that because it can screw you over. Now, if we go over to the World Spring, where is it? Right over here. So here's the World Spring. Now, the way that this works is, of course, these are all the terraforming for the different clubs, and this is for PvP arenas, which we'll get into that in a different video because it's a bit of a different complexity to it. So the way that the terraforming works is, of course, there is the infinity frame, which is a requirement in order to make all the biomes. I don't even know why this is a thing anymore. I really think that they should skip to just making the biome, but maybe there's something about the code. I don't know. It's going to cost you 300 infinium, which is pretty brutal to pretty much create every single type of biome, and then each biome is going to take a different type of resource respectively, right? The Sea of Deep Regret, ignore that one, don't bother with it. It is only serving the purpose for clubs that were created on the alpha game code like Team Pixel. So if you end up going over to the ocean, you're going to notice that it goes to bedrock level. That does not happen in new generated clubs anymore, and that's all that this Sea of Deep Regret is for, is so that technically I could go around bringing the water level up, which is pointless. However, the Sea of Tranquility, that's just going to be a blank slate. That's just an ocean, but it means that you can build in it, because with the Sea of Regret, you can't actually build in it, and if you stand in the water, you're gonna die. And then all the other different types of biomes and stuff like that. The Aligning Astrolabe, I don't even know if I said that right. That is setting your spawn point. It should just be called a spawning tool or something. And the way that it works is pretty much whatever block you're actually standing on. It's not going to register whether or not you're standing on, like, let's say we're standing in the middle of these two blocks. It's just probably going to set the spawn over here because we're standing on the closer block. And then, of course, the direction that you're facing actually matters too. I think you can only do all 4 directions. Honestly, I don't know because I've never tried spawning at an angle, but I don't think that it's a possibility to have a spawn point show up at an angle, right? Then there is, I guess I'll have to just get one of these, unless there's a terraformer in the officer chest. Is there? Okay. Well, anyways, rip me. I guess I'll have to grab one just so I can show you all this right here. So the way that this works, let's get ourselves... What type of biome do I want? Let's get a medieval... let's get a Frigus Fjorn. No, that's the gigantic... Medieval Highlands is a gigantic one. So let's just get this one, and I'm going to hop over to the Dragon Kigurumi because, of course, I can go ahead and set down a biome now. The biome generation is completely different than it once was. In general, you're going to have to be very, very careful when using these terraformers because you can break everything. Hi, Sithy Poo. You can just, like, the way that it works is as you end up setting down a biome, it's going to destroy stuff that's part of another biome, and it's also going to go a little bit underground. So I've seen this happen countless times before where someone will put down a biome, kick me, where somebody will put down a biome and it destroys all their stuff and they don't know why. So the devs have tried very, very hard to kind of rectify this. Now when you use a terraformer, it's just gonna go into this menu right here and it's gonna show you, like, you can take a peek at what the biome is. So if we end up going to, let's say this right here, it says that it's gonna be irreversible, right? Okay, so if we go into it right now, you can see it's gonna give you a bird's eye view and then it's gonna show us what is actually being destroyed right there. You can kind of half see it on the top right of the screen where it's going to destroy the hub and stuff like that. Don't worry, we can press escape and get out of there before it ends up destroying my builds. And then there is also, another thing too that's a good hint is when you're in the build menu on your map, that is all the different biomes generated. So you can see that if we put a biome up there, it's going to be a really big fat one. But we're going to actually put one just over here on the left just because. And I want to see what this actually does because I've never actually seen this work. But you can see that it's going to destroy a little bit of the other biome. It's going to destroy that little island that's right there. And if you have any builds that are there or underground secretly in a cave, it's going to destroy it, and you're not going to get any of your items back. So you got to be very, very careful about that. This whole process takes about 30 seconds as far as I can tell. I think that's what it was originally anyways. And then, of course, we can set the biome type to, you know, different privileges for different members. And then there you go. That's pretty much it, everybody. I hope I actually covered everything. If there is anything else that I didn't cover, of course, leave a comment in the comment section down below for everybody to read. And of course, I'll try and pick out like the most relevant comment. If it's something like really, really big that I overlooked, of course, I'll have a reply to that or just post a comment that'll actually talk about all of it. And now you can see over here, we have the new Architect biome, which is generating in swimmingly. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope that I gave you all the proper tips so that you can actually control your club and manage it yourself. Of course, I guess most importantly of all is you go over to the club section area, click invite, choose the member. The maximum amount of members you can have is 751. The extra one is just you yourself. And one thing that's very important to keep in mind with is if you, the leader, end up leaving the club, I would recommend if you have a backup account to set that account to a leader as well, because otherwise, if you leave a club, you're screwed. That's it. That's the end of times. And then that club is just sitting there forever and nobody can touch it because no officers can end up promoting themselves back up or anything like that. And it's just, as far as I know, there is no way to delete a club. And that's one of the reasons I think Trove is secretly so laggy, because it keeps caching more and more clubs, but that's just a whole other thing. Either way, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope I covered everything. Now, don't forget to Hadouken the like button, share favorite, and subscribe to join Team Pixelsano and stay epic, everybody.